This last week, a huge YouTuber came out and said he's going to plant 20 million trees with the help of the Arbor Day Foundation. And I think it's a great idea. But what can you do if you can't donate money and you're not a huge YouTube channel? Well, you can do what we like to call plant propagation. You can be a big YouTuber, or you can be a little YouTuber. And I think it's an excellent idea to get participation in getting 20 million trees in the ground. If you remember from my previous videos, I took these as cuttings. It's a simple process. You just find you a nice branch on the tree that you want to propagate from. You clip you a nice little small clipping off of there, strip the bottom of the cutting, and then take your little shears and just scrape the bottom down to the cambium layer there. Your rooting compound into a separate container, and then dip the cutting, the scraped end of the cutting, into the rooting hormone. Make sure you get it nice and coated. We want to make sure we get it good and coated so that when we put it in our propagation box, it actually works really well. And then we're just going to take a little stroll out to our propagation box, lift the lid, and place the cutting into the propagation media, packing it nice and firm, and then repacking it to make sure it's very well set. And obviously you're going to do this on a lot bigger scale, and then it's going to be perfect. I pulled them out, and they've been healing in this pot now for, most of the summer. It's late October, and I think it's going to be a perfect time to go ahead and get these in pots. Again, this is something anybody can do with limited funds. I found a tree, so the cuttings were free. I built the propagation bed, which was negligible cost. Put a little bit of dirt and stuff in there. Yeah, I have about 30 bucks in there. But I'm telling you, when I planted these, there was 455 trees in there. Obviously, we lost some of those during the process. But at the end of the day, even if we get a couple hundred trees each, we're helping out to that 20 million tree goal. And we should be there in no time if everybody pitches in. So those with limited funds that maybe don't like to donate, or whatever your cause may be or your reason may be, you can do propagation, plant propagation at home. And here, I've got a couple hundred trees, and it didn't cost me really anything. The pots that I'm going to use, I got these from a landscaper who was going to throw these things away. I'm going to recycle them once I move up to a bigger container. Yeah, these trees are small now, but in a couple of years, these things will be huge. I want to show you what they look like after about 1.5 years of growing in their own soil after the cuttings were taken. Believe it or not, this tree here was taken only a few months before these cuttings here were. The difference was I pulled these out as my test, put them in larger pots, let them grow all through the year, where these stayed in the propagation bed with controlled environment, heat, moisture, and all that stuff as cuttings until this year when I pulled them out. These were taken as cuttings last year, pulled relatively quickly, and then potted up, and that's how much they've grown in one season. You're talking about an 18, 20-inch tree there versus, 7 or 8-inch cutting. This is in a larger 3-gallon container. We'll have these in little 1-gallon containers before, not even 1-gallon containers before the end of this video. But at the end of the day, again, 1.5 years, and this thing's already a productive citizen of the environment because of us. And remember, when breaking apart the root ball of any healed in or just any plant in general, you're not trying to damage all of the roots that are intertwined, interconnected, and keep it in mind. So you don't need to manhandle it. You can kind of use some little shaking the root ball in between, kind of shaking the dirt loose, and just you'll get the feel of just trying to get those roots will start to separate. Just don't yank them apart. You're not trying to you're not trying to separate them forcefully. You're trying to get as much of that root saved. After all, you spent all this time watching these plants grow in a propagation bed through the spring and the summer, and whenever you took your cuttings, you don't want to kill them now trying to, manhandle them for your own benefit to try to get the job done quicker. It's going to take a little bit. Just be patient, and it'll go perfect. I'm gonna be honest here, this is more work than, you know, most people would think that it was. I mean, I've been over here, I don't have a, you know, I don't have one of those potting benches. I'm doing this off the ground, obviously, you know, but it's well worth it. I mean, after all the months of waiting to see this stuff come to fruition, this is what you get. I've kind of put this off this year. We've had a dry summer in Georgia, so I was trying to wait till we, you know, got a little cooler weather, the fall. These plants are going to be healed in. I didn't want to be healed in through the winter time. I wanted to be in individual pots, and this is just the perfect time to do it. I think the heat's not bad, and we're going to make some good progress here. And you can see that it's going, and it's going, and it's going. I didn't think it was ever going to end. Actually ended up not having quite as many trees as I thought I did. I mean, I think I planted 400, maybe 300 something. Anyway, you see here I'm also tearing off the dead spots. But anyway, you know, the trees were, you know, this is a homemade propagation bed. This is not a, you know, this is not a commercial business for me. This is just a hobby, and I wanted to see what I could do with it. So yeah, I lost quite a bit through the actual being in the bed, and I lost quite a bit going into the healing container. You see me throwing some out during the process of this video. Keep in mind, it's a hobby. I'm having fun with it. You should have fun with it. Ask me any questions about what I did, how I do things. I'd love to, you know, respond back to anything. And it's pretty straightforward, you know, but it can be a little daunting. You don't have to spend thousands to get a propagation bed set up for this. I mean, I could have, what I have built there that you see me going back and forth to, the propagation bed there, I could put thousands of cuttings in there had I wanted to. I think I literally took up less than a third of that propagation bed for what you see here. Actually, the whole 400 that I had in there, and I could have planted thousands in there. I mean, it would have been crazy. I wouldn't have had enough pots to put all this stuff in, so something else to keep in mind.